Minor adjustments are dedicated to preventing and reducing crime. Our primary purpose is to teach men or women how to make the minor adjustments that are necessary in their lives, which will allow them to obtain and maintain a productive lifestyle after incarceration and or rehabilitation. Our motto is anywhere but backwards. Everybody say anywhere but backwards. The words in that mission statement, it says to obtain, and the other one is maintain. Listen to me. To obtain means to come into the possession of something. Maintain means to keep it in existence. Listen. The reason why I say that, everybody say to obtain my sobriety is easy. Our challenge is to maintain it. Say to obtain our sobriety is easy. Our challenge is to maintain it.
Good evening, everyone. No matter how many times I hear my own self say it, to obtain our sobriety is easy. Our challenge is to maintain it. What that simply means is when we come into the possession of something, no matter what it may be, if we get our sobriety in a particular year, I'll use myself. In 2009, I obtained my sobriety. I didn't have to go get my sobriety again in 2010. I simply had to maintain the sobriety that I obtained in August 2009. So today, as always, we're going to be going over some of the topics in this particular workbook, which is the Minor Adjustments Workbook, the curriculum for the Minor Adjustments Program. But we're going to go over a particular section of this book. It's towards the end of the book. I want to go over it. It's in the end of the book. And it's on page 77 of this particular workbook. I will put the link in there so people will be able to get this particular book. But I'm going to be diving into page 77. And I'm using that particular area and I'm calling it the conclusion. The conclusion. I'm calling it the conclusion. All right. So let's look at, again, our motto is anywhere but backwards. When I use those three words, they are not just something that I tell individual facilitators, that I tell individuals who might be struggling with any substance use disorder or criminal lifestyle or whatever. If you get the anywhere but backward part down pat, like no matter what happens, right? Don't go back. No matter what happens, I teach this over and over and over because individuals learn by repetition. And I try to get into that particular vein or that lane where I tell individuals over and over and over again, anywhere but backwards. When we say those things, anywhere but backwards, I am not saying that you won't be faced with some relationship issues. I'm not saying that you won't be faced with some financial issues. I'm not even saying that you won't even suffer certain relapses on the path of what you're trying to do. But if you get the anywhere but backward part down pat, right, you'll never be able to go back to the life that you came out of. I promise it. I guarantee it. All right, let's see. So let's look at the mission statement, which we were just talking about, or which the video was just explaining. And again, the mission statement is Minor Adjustments is dedicated to preventing and reducing crime. Our primary purpose is to teach men and women how to make the minor adjustments that are necessary in their lives, which will allow them to obtain and maintain a productive lifestyle after incarceration and or rehabilitation. Our motto is anywhere but backwards. So when I say to obtain, it means, again, to come into the possession of something. So if you are a person who coming out of the substance use disorder or criminal lifestyle, or you are a person who are coming out of one field and you're trying to go into another field, peer recovery, counseling, or social work, whatever field you're going in, you have to remember that you have to maintain the status or the place where you are now. By maintaining, I mean you need to learn what you need to learn in order to maintain that particular place. So for me, in August 2009, after 22 years of struggling with crack cocaine and heroin, I obtained my sobriety in that year, right? So I needed to learn all the relapse prevention skills, new life skills, new coping skills. I had to build up my spiritual foundation. If you're a spiritual individual or spiritually inclined, you want to build up your spiritual foundation. I had to develop a social support network and a recovery support network. Those are two different things. I'll be teaching about that later. But you want to build all of these things up because those are the things that's going to be needed for you to maintain the sobriety that you have obtained. Again, in the mission statement, it says a lot of good things here, but I just want to point out a particular thing where it says to make the necessary minor adjustments in their life. The reason why I say the necessary minor adjustments that you have to make is because some things that you have to, that you are working on changing aren't really needed to be changed. You need to adjust them. Some characteristics and some of the things that I have learned in my life that I thought were bad traits really wasn't. I have a very high, strong tenacity to continue to succeed in any area of my life. And I also ran that type of way when I was actively using drugs. I always had a tenacity or to succeed to get the substance that I was actually using. Although that was not the way that particular thing should have been used because I was using it wrong. But this is going to sound real like a cliche. I just made minor adjustments. Instead of going and using that tenacity and that passion to go after the substance, I now have the same passion and the tenacity to help other individuals, men and women, who are struggling with a substance use disorder or who are a peer or who wants to be like a peer recovery coach, a counselor, something like that. I try to mentor them and inspire them to go on that particular path. So you got to understand all these things are things that we can go learn from. So we're going to go to the conclusion, which is something that it'll be pretty good for you to pull some different points from. I love these what I'm about to share with you. I actually got them from this book. I'm gonna show you the book. Actually, the book is called, I love this book. This when you know my motto. I told you my motto is anywhere but backward. But the name of this book by Dr. Henry Cloud is Never Go Back. Oh, when I tell you this is a very awesome book. I recommend you get it. I don't get no type of benefit for telling you this. I'm just telling you this because this is something that I use in my own personal life. I read it over and over again. It's called Never Go Back by Dr. Henry Cloud. Great book. It's one in there. I got a bin over there with books that sit on top of my desk. I got books that I have that are going inside of my cabinet down here, but the ones on top are the ones that I read over and over and over again. Because some people learn by repetition. So let's see what we got. Oh, sorry. So we're going to be talking about the conclusion of this particular session today. And let's watch this. We're just going to go through. And again, this particular part right here, everything I read, I'm quoting from the book. I'll let you know when I stop quoting from his particular book. Arthur Henry Cloud said in his book titled Never Go Back, and I quote, "Do you ever feel stuck or bogged down? You know your life could be different, better, but you're not sure what's holding you back. And even if you did know, you're not at all confident that you have what it takes to change." Arthur Henry Cloud understands. Not only does he understand, he also gave us 10 principles in his book that he says will ensure you'll never go back to your old ways of doing things after you apply them. This is a big word right here. Applying. After you apply them. On the in the beginning of this particular section, when I pulled up the mission statement, if you probably didn't see it, but it had 3 words: information plus application equals destination. And information is awesome, application is awesome, destination is also awesome. But the most important word out of those 3 to me is application. That's why where it says you'll never go back to your old ways of doing things after applying them. What I try to tell individual peer recovery coaches, counselors, people struggling with substance use disorder is no matter how much information you get, if you never apply the information to your life or to your field of expertise or whatever you're trying to do, then you'll just be loaded with a bunch of information. I take self-directed courses to help me grow in every area of my life. I take courses dealing with my spiritual foundation, which I do with spiritual growth. I take courses dealing with business because I also have a business that I run. I take courses dealing with a person who's an author because I'm a 10-time published author. So I take courses. So I take courses dealing with substance use disorder because I'm a certified drug and alcohol counselor. I take courses dealing with peer recovery work because I'm a national certified peer recovery support specialist. I said all that to say this. No matter how many of those courses that I take for all those different areas of my life, if I never apply the principles and things that I learned in those courses, then they will never actually help me in my life, although I might know them by memory, right? So a lot of times I want you to understand, even before we dig into this particular short session right now, I want to go back to when he says, Arthur Henry Cloud understands. Not only does he understand, he also gave us 10 principles in his book that he says will ensure you'll never go back to your old ways of doing things after applying them, right? So we got to apply them. So if you are in a particular facility, because I'm talking to so many different people who be tuned in all around the world at different locations, if you're in a facility and the facility has different guidelines, different rules, different program structures, right? You can learn all that, but if you never apply those things to your life, when you leave the facility, you won't be able to carry those coping skills or those life skills and with you, even though you might know them. Like I said, I know I have a great gift from God to have memory, a gift of memory about remembering things that I might read before I go to sleep, and when I wake up, they just be there. I can just see them. I have a photographic memory. But I want you to understand that the application part is very important. So let's look at these things that he has in this book. Again, this is a quote, or I'm quoting a chapter. Not a chapter. I'm quoting something that he wrote in his book, Dr. Henry Cloud, called Never Go Back. Great book. Great book. I recommend it. And I'm not telling you that because I get some type of kickback for letting you know. I'm literally telling you that because that's what I use in my life. Number one, never again return to what hasn't worked. Oh, listen, he's talking about never going back. He says, never again return to what hasn't worked. Most of the things that we keep going back to are things that hasn't worked. How do I know they didn't work? That's a good question, and I'm glad you asked. The reason why you know it didn't work is because you're not seeing fruit from it. You're seeing consequences from it. So if you're on, or if you were struggling with some type of stronghold, or I don't care what it might be, right? And you keep going back to it, you're going back to something that doesn't work. Can you imagine going to a soda machine that says out of order and you put your money in there expecting to get a soda when the machine clearly says out of order? It doesn't work. So why would you go back to the soda machine to try to get another soda when you went in there the first time the soda machine said out of order? You put your money in there despite the sign say out of order, and you didn't receive a soda. Now, would you go back to the soda machine the next day and see that the sign still there says out of order? Would you put your money in there again? No. So never again return to what hasn't worked. That's the same type of thing that we keep doing when we going back to these addictions, and we going back to all these other lifestyles, and we're going back to all of those things that hasn't worked all this time. I don't know who this is for, but I'm going to take it for myself. You have been trying the same particular pattern and the same particular strategy all these years, and it has not worked. Sometimes even in marriages, I talk about everything. Even in marriages, sometimes we keep trying to do the same thing to help our spouse out. But after years of trying that same thing, we have to admit that this is not working. It's not working. So never again return to what hasn't worked. Now, next, never again do anything that requires you to be someone you're not. See, a lot of times when you're coming from an addictive lifestyle, people call you all types of names associate with the drugs or the alcohol or the things that you were doing. So they call you all these names. I remember people calling me those names as well. They calling you all these names, but that's not really who I am. So you don't have to be. See, when you go back to using substances and you go back to committing crime, you are doing things that does not represent who you truly are as a person. So never again do anything that requires you to be someone you're not. What does that mean? Let me use me because I've never been you. When I was under the influence of crack cocaine and heroin, there was very degrading and disrespectful things that I would go do just to get the substance. I wouldn't care because I needed to get high. So that was the drugs was requiring me to be someone I'm not. How do I know that it was the drugs making me do things or making me be someone I'm not? It's because after I stopped using, I no longer did the things. That's because that wasn't me. I was doing things that required me to be someone I'm not. So I'm telling you, Mr. Henry Cloud says, never again do anything that requires you to be someone you're not. So if you think, let's think about substances and alcohol. If you're doing the substance and you're doing the alcohol, consuming the alcohol, right? It's going to constantly make you do, it's going to require you to do something to be someone you're not. It's going, that's how it is. So if you know that this substance or this alcohol or this pill or this marijuana or whatever it might be has always requires you to be someone you not, then never again go back to it. I hope you understand everything that I'm telling y'all today. Let's look at number 3 on here. Never again try to change another person. This goes back to when I was speaking about spouses, right? Not just spouses. As a substance abuse counselor and a national certified peer recovery coach, a support service coach, right? I automatically know that I can't change a person, right? Now, I might can inspire you, but motivation only gets you started. It's your dedication that keeps you going. Like I can inspire a lot of individuals. I have inspired a lot of individuals during the past since I've been doing what I've been doing since August 2009, right? But I am aware that I can't change another person. You have to understand, never again try to change another person. If you understand that you can't change a man or a woman, it will make you get a lot more sleep at night because you probably be worrying about, man, why this person ain't doing this and why this person is not doing that, when it really has absolutely nothing to do with you. It's predicated on the person that we're trying to help. Or if you keep trying to change someone else, this is good. Listen to me. If you are the person who have struggled with a substance use disorder and a criminal lifestyle and alcohol and those things, family members, employers, friends are all going to have a preconceived idea about you from your past lifestyle. Now, you might have a year removed from your past lifestyle, and they might still feel how they feel about you because they're judging you based on what you did previously. Now, granted, I'm not saying they're right. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying they might have some evidence of how they feel about you. And this is the reason why I know this is because it happened to me. But you got to remember that no matter how someone feels about you, remember that you can't change that person. So some people might feel how they feel about you for the rest of your life. But if you get this one principle right here, remember he says, if you get these principles, I will ensure you'll never go back to your old ways of doing things after applying them. So after you apply this principle of never again try to change another person, never again try to change another person. So if a person is feeling a certain type of way about you, don't try to change them. You can't change them anyway. All you got to do is live to the best of your ability and let the chips lie where they lie. All right. Never again believe that you can please everyone. This is so good. This is good. I remember at one point in time, I had the intentions to trying to please everybody. But then I realized that's not going to work. Did I realize it before this book? I ain't sure. But anyway, whenever I came to the realization that I can't please everybody because I got on a red shirt and somebody might be like, you should have had on a black shirt. You should have had on a blue shirt. But my favorite color is red. So I wore red today. But I'm just telling you that there in your life, you have to remember that you're not going to be able to please everyone. No matter what you do, somebody will always have an opinion about some of the things that you do. No matter if you do something that you believe is something superior to other things that people want you to do, they're going to always have an opinion. But this is the thing. No matter what you do, somebody going to always have something to say. So never again believe that you can please everyone. These are some good. Let me go back. He says, never again return to what hasn't worked. I hope y'all got this. Never again do anything that requires you to be someone you're not. Never again try to change another person. And then he says, never again believe that you can please everyone. These are some good. This is good. This is good. This is good. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, I'll do that one. Never again choose short-term comfort over long-term benefit. Short-term comfort is like you going on the pass. If you're in the facility, you go on the pass, you sneak and drink some alcohol or sneak and get high, and then you come back into the facility, and then you probably beat the yawn screen, or you eluded the yawn screen, or you got around it. You did whatever you did, right, to get around it, and you think, I got over. That's actually a short-term comfort, right? Yeah, because you're going to get comfort, long-term benefit. Never choose short-term comfort over long-term benefit. Short-term comfort is you doing things and getting away with it, and you thinking you got away with it where really you didn't. You just received some short-term comfort. But you don't never want to sacrifice, never again choose short-term comfort over long-term benefit. Long-term benefits is the benefits. I'm coming up on 15 years removed from the last time I did a substance of alcohol or drugs or anything, right? So that's long-term benefit. Short-term comfort is you doing things, getting away with it. So you think you're getting away with it. So you like, oh, I got away. So what happens when you think like that, or when you do things like that, you'll start pushing the envelope a little more. But the bad part about that is that short-term comfort can possibly end up in your death. And if you're using, especially at these times, because individuals are using and saying they're using heroin, but every time they take the test, it's not showing heroin. Individuals who are smoking marijuana have fentanyl in it. Everything that they have right now has all these things in it. So I'm thinking, won't you just, everybody got to realize that that short-term comfort has to be changed to long-term benefit. I know about the individuals who have to go to detoxification places to get the substance out of their system. I'm all for that. I send people there every day, right? Because they got to get that thing, they got to get the process started. But I'm saying, whatever you're trying to do, short-term comfort, don't take that. Go for long-term benefit, sort of like a savings account. That's long-term. Never again trust someone or something with flaws. Never again trust something or someone with flaws. My wife and I often make the statement, I don't want people to trust me. I want them to trust the God in me. And what that simply means is go by what I show you every day. Because some people can show you one thing on Monday and change before it gets to Friday. But if you see a consistency from an individual and you are in their presence and you're able to be in that person's presence for more than one day, and you see no matter when you find them at, no matter what they're doing, they often they're not perfect, they have flaws, but I don't want you to trust someone or something with flaws without no evidence that they are the same every day. You got to understand that. I tell people all the time, don't trust me, trust the God in me. Trust that I am being led to do what I am supposed to do. Never again take your eyes off the big picture. Woo! I love it. I'm telling you one more time. This is the book. This comes from this book, Dr. Henry Kyle. Never go back. Never again take your eyes off the big picture. I'm a purpose-driven individual. You gotta keep your eyes on the big picture. If you are coming in the field to be a recovery coach, right? The big picture is helping the participants, the clients, or whatever terminology you use at the agency. The big picture is helping them get on the path of sustained recovery or maintain recovery, whichever word you would like to use. I use maintain, right? So the big picture is getting them started on the process and then assisting them with peer recovery related tools to help them to continue. And this is the thing. The big picture is always something that you have in you, the innate ability, because something that needs to be birthed in me may not be in you. But if you're in the peer recovery area or counseling or things like that, as I call it addiction focused professionals. That's the term I like to use because we have a lot of different titles, but I like addiction focused professional. If that's you and you're on here or you watching this later, remember, never take your eyes off the big picture. If you are currently using or you're in a facility and you're going through different things, don't get frustrated by the rules of the program. Don't get frustrated by the staff. Don't get frustrated by the alumni people. Don't get frustrated about none of that. Remember, never take your eyes off the big picture. The big picture is you maintaining your recovery for the rest of your life. Being free, set free from all your strongholds, set free from every particular area of your life that used to hold you in its grip. And I also want you to know that you are a giant killer. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, this is so good. I hope y'all are receiving this. Let's see. Let me pull. All right. Okay. Never again neglect to do due diligence. Due diligence is you doing your proper study of everything that you're coming across. Whatever you're doing your proper study of, do your due diligence. Should I go? I'm in this program. All right. Now, if I'm going out with individuals and these individuals are not really focused on maintaining their sobriety, and when y'all leave the facility, you know that they're not really focused as you are, you need to do your due diligence. What do I mean? I mean, are you aware? Are you sure you want to continue to go out with them when you know that they're not going out to do right and you are focused on doing right? You need to switch up the people that you go out the building with. So and you got to do your due diligence. Doing your due diligence is you doing the process. It's called in the Bible, that's called counting the cost. So you need to make sure, do I need to be going out with these guys and I know that they're going to go do these things? Are they sneaking things back? And I know, do I need to hang out with them? Do I need to stick around with them? Watch this. When I was in the facility, we had people who was doing all types of stuff. I created a group and it was called the Mighty Men and Women of God group. Even though it was no women there, we was the mighty men, right? So I created this group. The group of men was all the individuals who was focused on what I was trying to achieve. They had the same mindset, or they had in their view the big picture. So I had to do my due diligence and make sure this group of individuals are the individuals who are thinking like me, want to do better in life like me. And that's all I hung with. I did not hang with the other individuals that I spoke to. All the other individuals, I wasn't like not talking to them. I would see them and say, how you doing? I would see them in the gym. I would go on trips with them when we go with staff. But when we were going out by ourselves, I never went with them. Never. I never will go with them because I knew they wasn't focused like I was. So you got to remember, never again neglect to do your due diligence. If you're a peer recovery worker or counselor and you want to advance in that field, you got to do your due diligence. What kind of trainings can I take? Who can I connect to? Who can I hang out with that's focused on trying to be the best particular person in that field as anybody else? Me, as a peer recovery coach and a counselor, I literally text myself that I want to be one of the best in the world, not just the town. I want to become one of the best in the world. I do my due diligence and find out how can I become that person that I want to become in that particular field. All right. Let's see what we got here. We got a lot of good stuff here. Now, let's look at never again fail to ask why you are where you are. So this is good. Never again fail to ask why you are where you are. So he says, listen, wherever you are in your process, right, you should always pause and find out, okay, if you're like me, I lost count on how many rehabilitation centers I went to. But you need to find out where you are right now. You need to find out, okay, what happened from the last time I was in the program, right? Because you got to ask, why am I here? When I was in a program before, why am I here again? These type of questions, if you never again fail to ask why you are where you are, when you ask yourself why you're in that particular situation, in a relationship, why am I in this type of relationship, at this particular job? Why am I doing all those things? When you never again fail to ask why you are where you are, you'll be able to answer some questions, watch these words, and solve some of your own problems. Woo! Oh my goodness, man. This is so good to me. Listen, never again fail to ask why you are where you are. When I ask myself, why am I in this situation when I was actively using, or now, matter of fact, this works universally. When I ask myself, why am I at this particular organization, right? Never fail to ask yourself why you are where you are. And when you ask yourself these questions, you should be able to come up with some type of answers, and you need to jot them down because they'll put you in a better position to succeed in other areas of your life. I hope you got that. I hope you got that. That's real good for you. All right, let's see what else we got. Okay, I'm gonna go to 78. Never again, this is his last one right here. Never again forget. This is so good. Never again forget that your inner life determines your outer success. Your inner life determines your outer success. I call it whichever one you feed the most. If you feed your inner man more than you feed your outer man, that's who's going to dominate. But if you feed your outer man more than you feed your inner man, that's who's going to dominate. No matter what. It's predicated upon, he says, never again forget that your inner life determines your outer success. So the whatever you're feeding yourself is going to determine your outer success. The things that you are walking in your life, the things that you are experiencing in your life is predicated upon what you're feeding yourself. If you sit around and feed on negativity all the time, do not be surprised if negativity attracts itself to you, because you're feeding yourself negativity. So negativity is going to be attracted, like a magnet. So the negativity magnet is going to be like, hey, that's a person that thinks about, read about, look at all types of negativity. So the negativity is just going to come to you like a magnet. So whatever you feed, never forget that your inner life determines your outer success. Whichever one you feed the most will always dominate. I hope you got that. That's the end quote from his book. The rest is something that I wrote. But listen. The concept may seem simple on the outside, but implementing even one of these principles will change your life forever. Once you walk through the doorways of change, you'll find that you never want to go back. Keep reminding yourself that you must go anywhere but backwards. Severing the chains to your past restores your option for the future. When you've been stuck a long time, forward momentum can seem impossible. Forward momentum. You can learn that life lesson from a car when the tires are stuck in the mud. You lack traction, you lack direction, energy, and confidence. So, what am I supposed to do? That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked. Getting traction requires willingness, a willingness to say yes to God first and then to yourself. Every time you say yes, you open yourself up to your God given potential, to the greatest of possibilities. If you've never used, if you're not used to making minor changes in your life, this may be hard, but at least be willing to say, I'll make some minor adjustments. Never forget that you are unique, possessing talents, experiences, opportunities that no one else has ever had or ever will have. But you must be willing to go anywhere but backwards in order for you to maximize your gifts. Again, we just did the conclusion of the matter and we pulled out some great things. I'm hoping that you got something out of this particular lesson. There's a lot of things that you need to watch this video over and over. It's called the conclusion of the matter. When you think about all the things that you had to go through to get to where you are today, you have to get the concept of anywhere but backwards. Our motto is anywhere but backwards. Minor adjustments is dedicated to preventing and reducing crime. Our primary purpose is to teach men and women how to make the minor adjustments that are necessary in their lives, which will allow them to obtain and maintain a productive lifestyle after incarceration and or rehabilitation. Our motto is anywhere but backwards. Have a great day and make sure you watch the rest of these videos. Thank you.